All right, good morning. So we're going to start this morning in a restorative pose. So grab your bed pillows, maybe even a couch cushion or a little pillow off the couch. Just see if you can grab however many you have. I have a bunch of different sizes here. So something like this is good to put under the knees, to go this way. And then use your pillows to build up something sturdy that you can lean back on. So I want to build a wedge that's at an angle. So I'm going to use 3 pillows here. And I can even use a block if you don't have a lot of pillows, but you have blocks, so that it's quite sturdy. And also at an angle. So we want it, I know it's a little dark, but you can see here that we have an angle. And this one's not necessary, but it will be quite comfortable if you have something under your legs, even if you have just like 2 small pillows, one under each knee. So we're going to build a little nest. And then you're going to scoot yourself back so the pelvis is on the mat. And the bolster, the pillows, your wedge is right at the base of your spine so that you can lean back and feel quite supported here. Now, if the head and neck are sort of leaning back and the chin is toward the ceiling, you can even take something as small as a towel. Refold this so that we don't want the head and neck craned back. So you can even give something up behind your head to give you a little bit more lift towards the chin. And then we can have the feet together and the knees wide apart. So this is called reclined butterfly. And often people do this just laying fully on the mat. This is to give us a little bit more support so that we're not arching the lower back a lot. We want to have it nice and supported. So make sure that you don't have a gap between you and the floor, but that you're really leaning back and supporting the lower back while the pelvis is still on the mat. Now, some of you will be quite comfortable without a pillow between your legs and just letting the legs hang, but it's actually quite nice, and you can have 2 different pillows or blocks under the knees to have the legs a little supported. So once you build your wedge and find your way into your nest, you can start with the feet together and the knees wide apart. You don't have to bring the feet quite close to the pelvis. They could actually be quite extended. And if it's not comfortable there, just take the legs long. The legs are the butterfly part of our butterfly. And then find comfort here. So take as much time as you need to build your nest so that you feel nice and supported. So that the chin is coming a little bit towards the chest and not craning and hanging off. And then you can lean to one side and then the other, tuck the shoulder blades down. If the arms aren't all the way to the mat, it might feel a little uncomfortable if they're just sort of hanging. So you can also put props or pillows underneath the arms. And then we're just gonna see if we can close off the eyes and settle into the breath. So in this supported pose, just allowing the body to relax into the shape, into feeling the support below you. On the inhale, noticing the effect of the breath to expand the physical body. On the exhale, allowing the physical body to just sink into this support. sink into wherever you feel the ground below you or the props below you. Noticing how the inhale creates a sense of spaciousness that you can sort of relax the body into as you exhale. And then just notice the breath coming in, out of the body. See if you can expand the exhalation all the way to the bottom, releasing all the air from the body. Notice how that sense of releasing the full exhalation allows quite a freshness, quite a deep breath on the inhalation. Maybe you notice a little muscle twitch or something as the physical body releases here. You can even really bring in that idea of the butterfly, that unformed in between part of the butterfly's life where she builds a little chrysalis around herself and transforms. So when the caterpillar is in chrysalis, all of the cells inside the body, all the cells of the caterpillar liquefy inside the chrysalis so that they can rebuild and transform into something completely different. So you might find that image useful here in this little reclined butterfly to just imagine that sense of letting go, allowing everything to go back to its smallest parts, its center, that liquefaction. And that part of the chrysalis growth process where perhaps the caterpillar has no idea what it will become. But it just trusts in this process to transform. It just trusts in this moment of stillness inside the chrysalis, this moment of going back to the smallest parts, the center, that something else is going to grow out of it. Just allows that process. Staying with the breath, allowing each breath to be nice and long and expansive. And again, staying with that image of the chrysalis, if that serves you today. Noticing those qualities of the transformational process, this quality of feeling like you're in the darkness, feeling like you might not know what's coming next, allowing that process to happen. Allowing the body to sink in and find its way back to center. And we'll take about 7 more breaths here. So just let each breath bring you back into physical awareness, awareness of the physical body, awareness of the breath on the physical body. Noticing here a sense of full relaxation. When the butterfly comes out of the chrysalis, it's a very slow process. So as you take these last few breaths in this pose, just remind yourself we're going to move slowly out of this position. So moving slowly as if you're moving through something thick and sticky like honey or molasses. Just start to let one leg go long and then the other. Take a few breaths there. Notice the change in what is touching the mat. And then inhaling, arms up overhead. Moving nice and slow to stretch through one side of the body and then the other. And then bringing the arms or the wings down alongside the body. We'll bend the legs so the feet are back on the mat. And then use the arms to press yourself up. So draw the chin towards the chest and then just slowly press yourself up. And noticing this openness that happens in the body when we take these restorative and yin type poses, just slowly take the props away, set the props aside. We'll come to sit on a block. So you can lift the hips onto the block. Scoot yourself to the front of the block so the pelvis tilts towards the feet. Now, if the knees are not relaxed on the mat here, take one of your props back. You have all these pillows next to you today, and just place it under the knees so they have something to lean into, relax into. It might be a block, it might be a pillow. And then slowly finding your way to the most centered part of the body. Go ahead and take your shoulders in a circle around the hips, nice and slow. You might find that you lean, it feels almost like you're leaning back more than you might usually to get the shoulders to stack over the hips. And then we're going to bring the fingertips to either side. And just gently bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. And then drop the head towards the chest, chin towards the chest, and bring the opposite ear to the other shoulder. And we'll just roll a few times to the front. Again, thinking of moving so slowly. So if you've ever had the pleasure of watching a butterfly come out of chrysalis, it's very, very slow. There's a process that it has to bust its own way out in order for everything to come into place. If you try to cut a chrysalis open to help the butterfly too soon, it won't fully form its wings. It'll be a little bit mutated. So just allow the slow movement coming into the body this morning. Go ahead and take the head around one more time. And then the next time the chin is towards the chest, pause there. Roll back up. We'll lift the left hand, bring the left hand to the right ear, and then just gently draw the head over to left, just allowing, just the weight of the arm, not pulling, just allow the head to come over. And then breathe into that area of tension. I also invite you to lift that right hand up, brighten the fingers. So hand can be lifted or on the mat. Just see whichever feels better for you. Take another full breath in, full breath out, and then we're going to gently walk the fingertips towards the back of the head, look down at the thigh. And then release both hands back to the mat, gently let the head come back to center, and then draw the head back up. Lift the right arm, take the palm over to the opposite ear, allow the head to gently be guided to the right. And then again, you can play around too. You can lift the arm, brighten the fingers, or you can just keep the fingertips on the mat. One more breath here. And then gently looking down at the leg, walking the hand to the back of the head. Take a few more breaths. And then release both hands back to the mat. Roll the chin towards the chest. And then all the way back up. Draw the hands up overhead, interlace the hands, and then take a nice full stretch up. And then we'll take it over to one side. And then back across to the other side. And then back to center. Coming into a twist here. So turning towards the right, bring the left hand onto the right thigh, take a full breath in, and then use the hand against the thigh to draw you a little deeper into the twist. Don't try to careen the neck behind you, working mostly in the core here, so the head's quite neutral. Take another breath here. And then exercise the eyes a little bit. Just look the eyes towards the right. And then allow the head to just follow the eyes. Take another full breath in. Full breath out. Moving back, starting with the eyes, bringing the eyes over and letting the body follow. And then arms back up, taking the stretch to the other side. So right hand comes to left thigh. Take a breath. Use the hand against the thigh to go a little deeper into the twist. Keeping the head quite neutral. And then exercising the eyes. Let the eyes look towards the left And then perhaps the head will follow a little bit. And just stretch out those eye sockets. And then moving back, starting with the eyes, letting the eyes start looking towards the right and drawing the body back. We're going to take a little Nadi Shodan, a little alternative nostril breathing. So you're going to bring the palm in front of your face. You can bring the first and middle fingers to that area right below the brows. That's just an anchor point. If you've done this quite a bit, you're welcome to tuck your fingers in. Take a full breath in through both nostrils, and then close the right nostril and exhale out the left. Inhale in through the left, close both nostrils, exhale on the right. Inhale on the right, close both nostrils, exhale left. And you can continue on your own, inhaling on the left side, close both nostrils, exhaling on the right. Inhaling on the right, close both nostrils, exhale on the left. Carry on with your own breath count as you inhale on the left, pause in the center, and exhale on the right. Inhale on the right, pause in the center, exhale on the left. Continuing on your own. Go ahead and find one more full round here. And then the next time you exhale out the left side, release the technique and just notice what you notice going on inside the body. So Nadi Shodan, this alternative nostril breathing, is to balance the yin and yang sides of the body. So just notice any sensations you have here, pulses, textures, colors you might feel. And we're going to go ahead and move off the block and slowly again, as if you're moving through something a little bit thicker than the air, start to find your way into tabletop. You can set your props aside for now. Bring the knees under the hips, wrists and hands underneath the shoulders, perhaps a little bit wider than the shoulders. And then go ahead and take any movement here that feels nice and juicy. So just moving some fluids into the joints, hydrating the tissues, think moving so slow as if you're really aware of the prana, the chi around you. You want to start to tune into that sensation, like the fish doesn't realize she's swimming in the sea. See if you can start to tune into that primordial substance that we're living in. Moving nice and slow. And then make your way back to center, find your tabletop. Go ahead and untuck the toes, take a full breath in. As you exhale, rounding the back, releasing the crown of the head, finding cat. On the inhale, tucking the toes, looking forward, finding cow. Again, moving super slowly and with the breath. When you're ready to exhale, untucking the toes, finding cat. This time pressing yourself back into child's pose to release the full exhalation. When you're ready to inhale, coming back forward in tabletop, tucking the toes, finding cow. And just take this little 3-part flow from cat, back into child's pose, and then forward into cow with your own breath. Inhaling that fresh breath as you come into cow, exhaling as you round the spine and press back into child's pose. Go ahead and find one more round of this, and then we'll all meet in child's pose. Once you're in child's pose, if your head doesn't come all the way to the mat, place a block underneath the forehead. And then arms can be up alongside the ear bones or alongside the body. And just take about 5 breaths here. And then again, moving super slowly, we're going to start to bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Press ourselves up. And come back to sit on the heels. So we're in a little hero's pose now. You can walk the legs a little bit closer together. And we're gonna, again, tune into this substance around us, this prana, to give ourselves a little pranic bath. So you're gonna bring the palms up, forearms together as much as they can be. And as if you're scooping something up, you can rise up onto the knees, keep the forearms together, pour that prana over you, and then let the backs of the hands roll together, brighten the fingers, and then you can come back down into hero's pose on the heels. You're going to take 5 rounds, so 4 more, as if you're scooping up that prana, pouring it over you, rolling the backs of the hands together, brighten the fingertips, and then come back down. 3 more with your breath. Inhaling up. And then exhaling down. Nice and slow, tuning into this energy of prana or chi that surrounds us. Last one. And then all the way back down. Come forward one more time into our tabletop. This time tucking the toes for our juicy movement. Taking the body in a circle or swing from side to side. Be nice and slow. Make sure you get symmetry going in both directions evenly. And then we'll make our way back to that neutral tabletop. Toes are tucked. Fingers are pointing at 12 o'clock. So the index finger rather is pointing as if it was pointing towards 12 o'clock. Press into the knuckles of the fingers, especially the thumb and the first fingers. And then see if you can press the hands and lift the knees and send that tailbone back towards the heels. Draw the shoulder blades together in the back. And then gently start to just extend in one leg. Take a full breath in, full breath out. And then bend both knees. Extend through the other leg, full breath in, full breath out. And then just keep walking your dog like this, nice and slowly. So the goal is not to just rush into downward dog, but to feel every movement that it takes to get there and takes to maintain it. Take another few breaths here, walking the dog. And then see if you can just find a moment of stillness, pressing again into the thumb and first fingers, pads of the fingers to take the weight off the wrists. Take another full breath in, full breath out. And then we're going to inhale the right leg up, bend the right knee, and again, slow circle with the knee. So rolling out that hip joint. Pause in the center and then take the circle the opposite direction. And then level off the hips. We're going to step that right foot forward between the hands, left knee on the mat. So you're finding your way into a low lunge here with the fingertips on the mat. See that your foundation feels steady. So maybe you want to walk the right foot out to the right. And then see if you can allow the pelvis to sink forward and down as you just look forward. If you feel steady here, you can press into the feet and rise up. If you don't feel steady, just stay with your fingertips on the mat. Take a full breath in, and once again, allow the pelvis to come a little bit forward and down. Let the shoulder blades come away from the ears. Another full breath in, full breath out. And then exhale the hands back to the mat inside the right foot. We're going to walk the right foot out to the right. Now here we're coming into a little bit of a dragon. So you can keep the foot on the mat or you can roll so you're on the blade of the foot and the sole of the foot's up. Perhaps you can bring your forearms down. Perhaps one forearm, one hand. Perhaps you want to have blocks underneath there. Just allow that right leg to abduct over to the right. Another full breath in, full breath out. And then we'll bring the hands back to the mat, jar ourselves out and back into tabletop for a round of hip circles or swaying the body. Again, moving super slow. And then back to center, tucking the toes, moving towards that variation of puppy. So press into the first finger and the thumb, the knuckles between the fingers, the pads, lift the knee. Arm bones alongside the ears, knees deeply bent. Take a full breath there. And then just extend through one leg. Bend both knees. Extend to the opposite leg. And then walk your dog out however you would like. And then find that moment of stillness. On the next inhale, we'll let the left leg float up, bend the left knee, take the knee in a giant circle, nice and slow. Take it in both directions. And then level out the hips and step the left foot forward. Coming into our low lunge, right knee on the mat. Fingertips on the mat as you allow the pelvis to come forward and down. And then just looking forward to start with your fingers on the mat. You can stay here, or if you feel quite steady, you can press into the feet and rise up. So the arm bones come alongside the ears. And then, again, allow the pelvis to sink forward and down. Take another full breath in. And on the exhale, bringing the hands inside the left foot. Walk the left foot out to the left just a little, and then see if you can roll onto the blade of that left foot. Now this might feel like enough, If this feels like enough, just stay here and breathe. If it's available to you, you can bring your forearms onto blocks, or maybe one forearm down, one up. Or maybe you can come into the full pose with both forearms on the mat. And just breathe. Breathe into the tension. Breathe spaciousness into anything that feels compressed. Take another full breath in. Full breath out. And then bring the hands underneath the shoulders, back into tabletop for your yogi's choice. Juicy movement. What does that mean to your body right now? Take it in both directions, see its symmetry. And then make your way back to your neutral tabletop. We're going to tuck the toes again and just walk ourselves back into that hero's pose one more time. 5 more rounds of the pranic bath. So forearms together, scooping something up, coming up, pouring it over you, allowing the backs of the hands to roll together. And then as you draw the hands down, back to seat. Go ahead and take 4 more with your own breath. Moving so slowly, you start to tune into the sense of the prana or the chi that's surrounding us. Last one. When you finish the last one, we're going to go ahead and come back up onto the knees. This time we'll tuck the toes, and we're just going to move into a little camel prep. So from here, allow the tailbone to relax. Zip the pubic bone towards the belly button. And then just taking one hand to one hip, the other hand's going to float up, and just see if you can reach back to that ankle. And just pause there. Take a full breath in, full breath out. And then on an inhale, draw yourself back up. Bring that hand to the hip. Inhale. Just reaching back to that heel. So if you find yourself really turning to the side, see if you can then turn and find a forward rotation. Take a breath in. And then back. And then back into tabletop. Juicy movement. Take that movement in both directions and then find your way back to center. Tuck the toes, press into the fingers and knuckles between the fingers, first finger and thumb. Lift the knees. And then make your way to downward dog. Go ahead and walk the dog nice and slowly. And then find a moment, just a moment of stillness in dog. We're going to start to walk the hands back towards the feet. Again, nice and slowly, as if you're moving through something quite thick. Walking the hands back to meet the feet today. Allow the crown of the head to release as you find your way into forward fold. You can hang there with your fingertips on the mat, or you can clasp on the opposite elbows. Keep the knees quite soft. Just allow that spine to extend. And if you clasp on the opposite elbows, go ahead and release the hands down to the mat. Soften the knees, and we're going to roll up the back. Lower back first, middle back, head, neck, arms. Stay heavy to the very end. Then we're going to come up to stand. Take a nice lateral stretch. Clasp onto one wrist, draw yourself over to the opposite side. Clasp onto the other wrist once you're back in center and take yourself over to the opposite side. And then back to center. Bring the fingertips together. Press the thumbs into the sternum and connect here with the heart. Just take a full breath into the heart. Full breath out. And then release, find your way to Tadasana. We're gonna just take a little balancing pose here. So go ahead and lean onto the right foot. Let the left foot float up. And then we're gonna extend through the left leg. Keep the left foot lifted. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend the knee. Place the left foot back on the mat. Give it a good shake. So when we're coming to balancing, oftentimes it can be a little bit easier if you're struggling to find balance to bring the feet together. So you just have one point already when you're starting. And then we're going to lean into the left foot until we find that lift of the right leg. You can stay here with the leg bent if you have trouble steadying yourself, or you can extend the leg long. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend the knee. Back to the mat. Shake it out. We'll take a few rounds of ocean spine here. So from anywhere on your mat, find your way to Tadasana. Feet are hip distance. Lift the toes. Press into all the parts of the foot, and then press the toes into the mat. Feel the lift of the arches. Soften the knees. Allow the tailbone to relax down. Allow the buttocks to relax, and then zip the pubic bone towards the belly button. Then we're going to squeeze the shoulders out, bring the shoulders up to the ears, shoulder blades together in the back, and then release. 2 more like that. Squeeze, squeeze, and then release. Last one. So Tadasana, this is a mountain pose. You can imagine yourself up on the top of the mountain. And now we're going to take a dive into the ocean below, moving the spine like a wave. So when you inhale, let the hands float up overhead. Look at those hands as the fingertips come together, and then keep your gaze on the hands and just dive forward, all the way into your forward fold, releasing the body and releasing the breath. When you're ready to inhale, we're going to roll up the back again, super slowly. Head, neck, arms all come last, arms floating out. And then you can think of drawing that prana, that heavenly chi, down in towards you. And then release, find your Tadasana one more time. We'll take 2 more rounds like that. On the inhale, letting the hands float up overhead, diving in, releasing completely, and then rolling up with the inhale so that the spine unfurls like a wave on the shore. As the arms slow up, imagine yourself drawing just a little bit more of that heavenly prana or chi down into your energetic body. Go ahead and find your way to mountain pose. Take a full breath in, full breath out. Last one on the inhale, let the hands float up overhead. Diving in. Release completely into the fold. Release the breath. Rising up only when all the breath has exited the body. Taking that fresh breath as you unfurl the spine. Hands floating up. Drawing that chi all the way back to you, and then pressing the thumbs into the sternum. Take a full breath in. Full breath out. Coming into a little bit more of a balancing pose here, bringing the feet together. You can have the hands on the hips if this is a little bit, if you're struggling with balancing poses. And then just gently leaning into the right foot, letting the left leg float up. Finding our way to tree pose here. So you can either bring the foot to the belly of the calf, tripod it at the ankle, or perhaps you can lift the foot into the belly of the thigh. Hands can stay at the hips. That's a nice grounding sensation to press the hips towards the mat, or you can bring the hands to the heart. Find your balance here. And then if you feel ready and steady and strong and rooted, you can grow some branches. Let your branches take whatever form they want. And if you feel unsteady, just know, oh, it's a little windy in my forest today. Take another full breath in. As you exhale, draw your branches back into the heart or hands back to the hips. Release the foot out. Draw the foot forward and then give it a nice lift. 5, 4, bring the belly button towards the spine. 2, 1, release down. Give it all a good shake. And then we'll press into the other side to bring the weight onto the left side. Remember, if you have the hands on the hips, it's just going to steady you down, give you a little feedback to press down. And then we're going to open up the legs. So you're going to find your version of tree. Maybe it's just here with the tripod. Maybe it's in the belly of the calf, but perhaps it's all the way up. Once you find steadiness here, you can bring the hands to the heart. Once you find steadiness here and you feel rooted, you can grow your branches. Remember, all our trees might take a different form. If you want to bring the thumb and index finger together, make a little mudra. Maybe you want to shake your leaves in the wind. And another full breath in. And as you exhale, bring the hands either back to the heart center or to the top of the hips. We're going to unhook the leg, draw it forward, lift the foot. 5, 4, belly button to the spine. 2, 1, down to the mat. Give her a good shake. Find your way back to the top of the mat. Find your Tadasana, your mountain pose. Allow the tailbone to relax. Zip the pubic bone towards the belly button. Draw the shoulders down away from the ears, palms shining forward. On the inhale, let the hands float up overhead. On the exhale, dive in, forward fold. This time we're going to half lift, fingertips to the shin, extend to the crown of the head. Draw the belly button towards the spine, and then bend the knees, hands to the mat, step back into plank. Once you're in plank, see if you can come even more onto the ball of the foot, pressing yourself a little bit forward. Take another full breath in. And then lower the knees to the mat. Bring your chest and chin down and forward. And we're going to find our way into Sphinx pose, bringing the elbows under the shoulders, forearms on the mat, fingers bright and pointed forward. Shake the hips out and perhaps walk the feet back so you don't have any tension in the low back. And then press the top of the feet into the mat with the lift in the knees. Draw yourself forward with the hands and forearms so that your heart comes forward. Looking forward, and just take a moment here, looking out onto the horizon, just like that Sphinx. Allow the spinal extension, allow the shoulder blades to keep moving away from ears, towards each other in the back. Stay active in the arms, pressing them into the floor, and as if you're drawing the floor towards you. Take another full breath in. Full breath out. Feel your steadiness here and how active this pose is. On an exhale, we're going to release the pose. Bring the hands under the shoulders, tuck the toes. Find our way back into tabletop and take that juicy movement. Whatever the body needs right now. And then find your way back to center. We're going to, again, tuck the toes, walk ourselves back and up onto the knees. You can stay with that half camel with just one arm at a time, or I invite you now to reach back with one arm and then let the other arm follow back to the heels. If you're here with both hands on the heels, press the hips forward and then don't just dump the neck, but see if you can keep the head in line with the spine. So you're not looking either particular direction. Take another full breath in, full breath out, and then come out of it just how you came in. So allow the arms to float forward, and then back into tabletop. Hip circles, swaying, or any loose movement. We're going to take one more back bend. So you can stay with either of those variations, either with one arm and then the other, or both arms at once with the toes tucked, or you can untuck the toes and see if you can find camel from there. If you get both hands to heels, don't forget to press the hips forward and then keep the head in line with the rest of the spine. Whatever pose you're in, take a full breath in, full breath out. If you're just doing one side, go ahead and change sides. We'll be here for another 2 breaths. Allow the heart to open, allow the shoulder blades to come in the back. And then on an inhale, draw ourselves forward, back to the tabletop, taking that juicy movement. Those can be tucked or untucked, whatever's going to give you stability. And then we're going to make our way back to center, back to neutral, cross the feet at the ankles, and then walk yourself back, coming onto the back. So hug the knees into the chest. Rock a little side to side so that you can feel that expansion of the low back on the mat. And then we're going to take a twist here to neutralize the spine. So you can take a double leg twist, or you can follow me in twisted roots. If you want to take a double leg twist, use a block to keep the legs, hips aligned. If you're going to follow me into twisted roots, you'll walk the feet towards each other, so you have one point in the center. Go ahead and lift the right knee over the left. Press into the left foot, lift the pelvis, take the pelvis slightly to the right. Perhaps you can tuck that foot behind the left calf, perhaps not. You're going to take both legs over to the left. Now, if the right shoulder comes up, or if the legs don't come all the way down, you can bring one of your mini pillows underneath the legs. That'll help bring the shoulder down. Arms can come out to either side. And then here again, we're going to check in with our eyeballs. Stretch out those eyeballs. So your eyes can be open or closed, but just take the eyes and really look over to the right. Really stretching those muscles behind the eyes. So the head is still in the center, just stretching the eyes up to the right. And just breathing here. Perhaps the head wants to start to follow the eyes, allowing a little unwinding of the neck. And then to move out of the pose, we'll start with the eyes. So allowing the eyes to come back to center, allowing the head to move back to center. And then drawing the legs back up, rolling back onto the back. Either taking the prop out if you're in a double leg twist or unwinding the legs. Hugging the knees in towards the chest, rocking a little side to side, find your way back to center. And then knees back on the mat. So if you're taking that double leg twist, you're still going to move the pelvis to the left before bringing the legs to the right. If you're taking twisted roots, we're going to lift the left leg over the right, press into the right foot, bring the pelvis a little to the left, perhaps tucking that foot behind the calf, perhaps not, and then bringing both legs over to the right. Now again, if you're unsteady, so sometimes what happens if we bring the legs over, the shoulder pops off. So if we want the shoulders to stay steady, so remember you can bring a bolster under the knees. Take a few more breaths here. And then we're going to stretch those muscles behind the eyes by first looking to the left. Even if the eyes are closed, looking underneath your eyelids, taking the eyes to the left. And then after a few breaths, perhaps your head wants to follow just gently. A few more breaths here. And then leaning with the eyes start to move back in the head, looking towards the ceiling. Take another few breaths. And then drawing the legs back up, unwinding the legs if you're in twisted roots. Bringing the knees towards the chest. Squeezing those knees in towards the chest, rocking them side to side so you can feel the whole back on the mat. And then coming into child's pose here, nice reclined child's pose. So we'll separate the legs, bring the arm bones between the legs, palm side up, and then just lift the legs enough to set them inside the palms. So your arms are like levers. The weight of the leg rests in the arms press the hips open. And then see if you can really relax the buttocks, relax the tailbone, relax the lower back. Take another few breaths here. Let those thigh bones move away from each other. And then we'll release the pose by lifting the legs, squeezing everything in. If you have any tension in your low back right now, your tailbone, bring that palms to the top of the kneecaps and make a big circle with the knees. So give yourself a little massage along that sacroiliac joint, that joint where the sacrum tucks into the pelvis. And then pause as the knees come towards the chest and take it the opposite direction. And we're going to move towards our Shavasana. And I invite you strongly, since we have so many pillows and bolsters out, to use one of your pillows underneath the thighs, underneath the knees, so that the knees are a little bit lifted. And that's just going to allow a little bit more relaxation in the low back. So this is something that I always advise in Shavasana, to just have a little bit of lift in the knees. And then walk the feet wide so you have lots of space. Bring the hands to the belly for a moment and just notice here this centered part of you around the belly button, solar plexus. Have a full breath in the belly. Feel that expansiveness underneath the hands. And then let the arms come out alongside the body. Palms are shining towards the ceiling, and you have enough space underneath, between the arms and the armpit, that you can feel the air. And just notice here on the exhale, everywhere that the body is touching the mat, and just relaxing into those points. And then begin expanding your inhalations. Feeling the effect of the breath on the physical body. Perhaps beginning to give a little bit of movement to the feet and the toes. Breathing all the way down the hands, giving a little bit of movement to the fingers, twisting and extending the fingers and the toes. And since you're at home, I invite you, you are welcome to just relax again into this Shavasana and allow yourself this full relaxation. However, if you need to do something else with your day, you can start to really stretch the body out by bringing the arm bones up alongside the ears, walking the feet towards each other, leaning into one side and then the other. And then bringing the knees towards you, rolling onto one side. Use the arm as a pillow. Take a moment there in this fetal pose. So much like the butterfly who goes into chrysalis, at the end of our practice, we go into Shavasana, which is a corpse pose, and then move into fetal pose for our rebirthing. So when you're ready, go ahead and press yourself up. Find your way into a comfortable seat. And for our awakening of the body, our rebirthing from Shavasana, corpse pose, through fetal pose, we're going to bring the feet together into butterfly. So I have my hips lifted. You can have your hips lifted on or on the mat. We're just going to shake our wings a little bit. Hands can be on the feet. Just lifting and fluttering here. Coming out of our chrysalis, transforming into something we don't quite know what it'll be yet. Know that you can just flap your wings when you get there. And then go ahead and release the technique. Feel this openness in the body as you bring your hands towards the chest, thumbs into the sternum. And just bring the chin towards the chest, acknowledging your own strength, your own ability to slow down and notice what's around you, your own ability to transform into something beautiful, even if you don't know what it is yet. And then lift the chin, thumbs between the eyebrows, acknowledging we are all in this transformational time, trying to find our way through, knowing we're all made of the same light. Namaste.